Hi everyone. In our previous video, I talked about the IELTS test preparation strategies, techniques and plans that I used when preparing for the IELTS test. You can check that video from the link above and in the description of this video. In this video, I would like to share some useful tips when taking the IELTS exam that helped me achieve a great score. As I mentioned in my previous video, I scored 9 in listening, 8.5 in reading, 7.5 in speaking, and 7.5 in writing with an overall band of 8. I was able to achieve this score with lots of practice and by following some tips during the exam, which we will discuss in this video. Please note that I took a paper-based test and the tips I'm about to share are only applicable for paper-based exams and all the information is based on my own experience. Let's get started. The listening test comprises 40 questions and you will have 30 minutes to complete the test. Always try to book a test center with headphones. I'm saying this because I took the test in a center without headphones and there is a huge difference. In any case, when you are practicing for IELTS, I recommend practicing without headphones. You can check my previous video on my IELTS preparation tips and how I practice for listening and other sections. Read all the questions before the recording starts and try to get an idea of what the conversation is about. Keep your focus on 2 questions. When working on one question, keep an eye on the next question as well. This will help to avoid missing the answer for the next question if you missed the previous one. When you missed one question, immediately jump to the next question without holding on to it. This will help to avoid missing the other questions in the section. Make sure to check the spelling of the word. If you misspell, you will lose your mark. Check the singular and plural nouns. Listen very carefully to understand whether a word is singular or plural. You can also guess from the question whether the answer would be singular or plural using the helping verbs such as is, are, am, and articles such as a and the. For example, in the sentence, we are planting a, the answer would be we are planting a tree because a refers to a singular noun. If there is no a, the answer would be we are planting trees. The reading test comprises 40 questions and you will have 60 minutes to answer. Try to quickly read through the reading text to get an understanding of what the text speaks about. Now, I don't recommend reading the passages to memorize because to me it is best to read the question and find the answer. Reading the paragraphs up front is just like a warm-up to get an idea. There are different methods of reading you can use to find the answers. The method that worked for me was the skim and scan method, and for some questions I read the full paragraph to find the answers. In the skim and scan method, you quickly scan the paragraphs to find the keyword for the question. Although this method will save some time, it may not work for all the questions. For some questions, you need to read word by word to find the answers. Know the synonyms for words. You may not find the exact same word that you are looking for. So it is important to know different synonyms for the same word. For example, the word beautiful has synonyms such as pretty, elegant, attractive, and so on. Manage time properly and avoid spending too much time on a single question. If you cannot find answers, immediately move on to the next question instead of holding on to it. Follow the order of the reading passage. Most of the time, the answers will be in a sequential order in the paragraphs, so it is best to avoid jumping back and forth and approach the question in the correct order. But for some questions, the paragraphs wouldn't follow the order. Always remind yourself to transfer the answers, otherwise you might end up not having time to do it later. The academic and general writing section consists of two tasks. Task 1 of academic writing is reports and general writing is letter writing. Task 2 is essay for both academic and general. Task 2 essay carries the most weightage in terms of marks, so focus more on task 2 and spend more time on it. For academic writing task 1, you should focus only on what is provided in the chart or report and avoid giving your own opinion. This is the task achievement criteria for evaluation. Stick to what the question is asking and do not provide additional responses. The writing should be more formal. You cannot use informal words, phrases, and idioms for the academic writing task 1. The general writing task 1 is a letter writing task, and there are two types of letters, formal and informal. Try to learn more formal and informal phrases and words to best prepare for this task. Informal letters are usually written to someone you know, such as your friend or a family member, so it should be more informal. For informal letters, you can use colloquial words, exclamations, and abbreviations when writing an informal letter. For example, in an informal letter, you can use I''M, but in a formal letter, you should use I am. Similarly, it is important to understand the usage of formal and informal words with the same meaning. For example, the word help is informal, whereas assistance is more formal. Also focus on the sentence structure when writing the letter. For example, look at the following sentences. I need your opinion on my writing. I would like to get your feedback on my writing. The first sentence is informal and the second sentence is formal. Also, the structure is different and is complex in the second sentence, and the usage of the words differ between formal and informal. Essay is the most important task in writing, and as I mentioned, it carries the highest mark and you need to spend more time. Understand the evaluation criteria for this section. Your writing is evaluated on 4 criteria: task achievement, grammar, coherence and cohesion, and vocabulary. Always stick to the topic of the essay and do not go overboard with your writing. You will not be evaluated based on your knowledge on the topic, but instead on your English writing skills. Try to use a combination of simple and complex sentences in all the paragraphs. Do not write a very long sentence to achieve the complex sentence criteria. Your sentence should be readable. For complex sentences, use conjunctions such as because, and, while, where, and so on. Do not count the number of words. Counting the words will cost you more time. Instead, take more practice tests before the exam. This way, you will have an approximate estimation of the number of words you have written. Always use linking words and phrases when writing. This is important to cover the coherence and cohesion aspect of the writing evaluation. For example, you can use the phrases like on the one hand, on the other hand, firstly, secondly, and so on to have a linkage between the paragraphs. It is also important to have linkage between sentences. You can use words such as although, moreover, furthermore, on top of that, in addition to, and so on. Try to use unique words, but do not try to make the writing more complex, as that might lead to mistakes. You must give your opinion only if the question specifically asked for. Do not give opinion unless otherwise asked. You can use the website called testpic.com, which I shared in my previous video for practicing IELTS writing. You can find the link to that video in the description. The speaking test is between 11 to 14 minutes, and you will be given different topics to talk about. For the introduction, try to provide as many details about you as possible and do not cut short the answer. Never try to make the task complex by using unique words. When speaking about a specific topic, it is not necessary that you need a very good knowledge on the topic. You will be evaluated only based on how you speak and not what you speak. In part 2 of the test, make use of the time to take notes and write important keywords on the topic that is given. You can consider these keywords as subheadings and cover them one by one. Do not stop talking until the examiner asks you to do so for the part 2 of the test. You need to cover the entire 2 minutes of the test. Never use words that you are unsure of how to pronounce. And do not use more formal words and phrases. Do not be nervous and speak in a correct speed so that the examiner can hear what you speak and check your pronunciation. These were my tips on IELTS exam, and I hope this will be useful. Thank you so much for watching, and all the best.